Kinetics has been made in association with Road Race Parts. Top quality, best prices, no compromise. Head to roadraceparts.com to get parts for your racing vehicles now.
Hello and another episode of Velocity Kinetics. Today, build an F1 team. Hashtag build an F1 team. So, a bit more explanation. We've been a little bit delayed in getting this out because I've been ill, Russ has been ill. We haven't had the time, because of being ill, to put this into place. So, what is it? Pretty much if you saw it on the Facebook page, it's basically going to be about how you build an F1 team. Where would you get your money from? Privateer? What engine? Who would you bring in if you could? What driver would you ideally like to have? Would you go for a pay driver? Would you not? Would you want to be privateer? Works? So on and so forth. We're going to do this over a series of days or weeks. I haven't decided how long we're going to do it over. Join in the comments, either on YouTube or on Facebook. If you want to post a video response, good on you. What we're going to do over these few days, weeks that we do these, we're going to break it up so I say my bit, Russ says his bit. Then, when it's all completed, we're going to stick them all together so you can see two continuous videos, or one, depending on how much content there is. If it's like a 20-minute video each, I'm not going to stick one 40-minute video, what I'm going to do in two 20s. But we'll then put it together so you can see how I would set up a team, how Russ would set up a team. Crap, I forgot what I said to Russ. So I'm going to run down the order we're going to break it up in, and then, let's say, we'll play it along. We'll play it as we go. So, location. Do you like this particular country? Is it good for location, for talent, for drivers, for tracks? Where would you set up? Next up, we would then go on to the engine. So, this is going to be broken down a little bit. So, for the engine, it's going to be out of the current suppliers, so Renault, Mercedes, Ferrari and Honda, who would you run with and why? Then we're going to go on to who would you bring in as an engine supplier, if you wanted to bring a new one in. And then, in an ideal world, what layout would you choose? So would you go for the 1.6 V6s with turbo? Would you twin turbo? Would you go to 1.4 V6s? Would you go to 1.6 V8s? 2 litre V12s? The twin supercharger? Whatever layout you think would work. Just out of curiosity, just be interested to know who thinks what would be a good layout to have. Then we're going to go on to the gearbox. So that's probably most likely going to boil down to make it your own buy-in from the person that's built the engine, or go elsewhere to get it made. Then we're going to go on to designer, so who would you get in to design the actual car? Which links in with aero. Would you go CFD? Would you go classic? Would you buy bits in? Would you try and have a deal with someone to get the back end of their car, so like Caterham did with Red Bull, have the back end of the previous generation's car? Going to go on the brakes. Who would you choose? Would you bring someone new in? Why would you choose them? The wheels. This might sound a bit silly, but Sauber a few years ago used to run a different alloy to everyone else. Different shape. I don't know why they did it. It just set them out as being a bit different. So, would you choose a different alloy? Or do you not give a toss as to what the alloys look like? That might be a very quick one. Then we go on to what we call setup. By setup we mean how would you operate. So, would you want pay drivers? Would you not? Would you want to be a works team? Would you want to be a customer team? Would you want sponsorship? Would you try and be a true privateer and just somehow fund it all out of your own pocket? Then drivers. Now, not pay drivers in this section, pay drivers in the previous section. Drivers, would you have 2 new bloods? Would you have 1 new blood and 1 experience? Would you go for a number 1 and a number 2? 2 experienced drivers? It could be quite open to debate because there is no right answer. For instance, Williams and having Lance Stroll and Sergei Sirotkin, some people might say it's a questionable move, but then Sirotkin's had good feedback when he was testing for Lotus. He was faster than Kubica, which is why he ultimately landed the drive. Ignore the money element, he was faster, you can't get away from that. Or would you go for what McLaren had a couple of years ago with Hamilton and Button, 2 very experienced people, or Hamilton, Button and Alonso? Or would you go for a new blood and an experience, so Alonso and Hamilton, for example? You know, it's quite an interesting setup. We'll say out of the current available drivers, so Formula E, Trans Am, Formula 1, out of all those drivers, who would you pick? We're not going to go and say, well, go backwards, because everyone's going to pick Senna, everyone's going to pick Moss, Fangio, more than likely having someone on their team. So we're just currently focusing on the current driver market, everyone that is still driving. So if there is some really left field driver that you know of, why not? If you want Maldonado, explain why you want Maldonado. Then we're going to go on to livery. So, is there a colour you would want? Is there a logo? Would you go with, if you're trying to be a works team, would you run it in works colours? Would you just want a plain white car? Plain blue, like a Tyrrell, maybe? Can't obviously have scarlet red because that is Ferrari, but if you did want it, explain why. Ferrari will not take kindly to having another red car on the grid. Then finally, the name of your team. What would you name it? And it's got to be, say for instance, Williams Martini Racing Mercedes. So, full name plus the engine. Not just, and I'm naming it Team Bob. Oh, that's a bit silly. So, we'll get some videos out shortly. Ignore my dumb. So join hashtag Build an F1 Team on Twitter, on Facebook and on YouTube. And our other hashtag at the moment, our little movement we're starting, hashtag everyone wants to get home. Just remember to drive safe.